Hey, what is going on, guys? It's the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. We're gonna be obviously talking about the continuation of the drama that is, well, you already know. We're gonna be the whole Spider-Man leaving the MCU. I made a stream yesterday about this issue. People still don't get it. I've tried to explain it to some people that don't understand it. You got to see people doing petitions. And to all the people that think that petition is going to do shit, you're delusional. Alright, there's a petition that's been going out for like about 3 years about Spider-Man 4 being made, the rainy Spider-Man. Like, no one gives a shit about this petitions and all that shit. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. Okay, I need to explain this to some people because people still don't seem to understand who's at fault here. It is not Sony. Sony is not at fault. This is 100% a Disney decision. Sony did not want to pull him out of the MCU. That is a fabrication, and it's not true. It's not true. Absolutely not true. Disney wanted 50% of the fact of the matter is Disney wanted 50% of the profits. Disney wanted 50% of not only the Spider-Man profits. Not only the Spider-Man profits, they wanted 50% of everything involving Spider-Man. That's not just Spider-Man. That's Venom. That's Morbius, Carnage, Gwen Stacy, the whole 9 yards. They wanted 50% of everything. Everything. They wanted everything. 50-50. Okay? That's stupid. That is stupid. There's no freaking executive that is going to allow that. Okay? They'd be fired the next day if they made that deal. Sony would be fired the next day if they made the executives would be fired the next day if they made that ridiculous deal. That is ridiculous. This is Disney's fault. Disney are at fault for this, and they have no one to blame but themselves. But a lot of people don't seem to understand this. 50-50 is bad because they want 50-50 in everything, even films that they don't even contribute to. Okay, like Venom, Morbius, Gwen Stacy, and they already have 100% of the merchandising rights. That's insane. Insane. Makes no sense. And they would have they would have control of those films. They would have 50% of the control of those films. So Sony wouldn't be able to do what they want in their own universe, the universe that they're creating. While Spider-Man's in the MCU, they wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, and the games too. The games, pretty much everything involving Spider-Man, they would have control of that, and that's outrageous. Why would any person do that? Why would any company do that? So, people seem to understand. People they're not reading the whole thing. They're not reading the whole article. They're just seeing that Spider-Man's being pulled out. Spider-Man's being pulled out of the MCU. So we need to, boycott Sony. We gotta sign all these petitions and all this crap. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. They're trying to make Disney look like the good guys and Sony like the bad guys. I'm gonna bring up this user because quite frankly, he is just so annoying, and but I'm gonna bring him up because I'm gonna commentate on some of his videos because oh man, he is so cringy. He's so cringy. So okay. So Comic Book Cass, my boy, Comic Book Cass. Well, you're not really my boy, but dude, he is the one who is procrastinating this. crazy shit that's not true. And I don't like to really talk about Comic Book Cast that much. I talked to him about a while ago after the whole Venom shit, because he just kept burying Venom for no reason, and still takes unnecessary jabs at the Venom movie from time to time. But this is where we go to the point where Comic Book Cast doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'm going to show you a user who actually does know what he's talking about, a guy who actually is involved with the industry, actually knows stuff behind the scenes, actually understands the situation, which Comic Book Cast does not. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up right now. For our little our friend Comic Book Cast over here. Can I don't know if people can see this. Obviously talking. We're gonna try to pull this up here, and I'm gonna show. All right, where is it? It's so hard to freaking tell with this when you're doing these streaming things. You know, I really wish we had Hangout still. He does know what he's talking about. Okay, hold on. There we go. All right. Yeah, we're gonna do this. All right. So you guys should be seeing my YouTube screen right now. Okay, so here we go with this. We're gonna talk. Let's say so. These are some of Comic Book Cast's videos. Okay, right. I haven't even watched this one yet. Okay, and I'm afraid to be completely honest with it, because it's probably inaccurate. Okay, so so I'm gonna just commentate. Which, by the way, Comic Book Cast, if you're somehow watching my video, like, you know, I don't know if you are, but I honestly don't care if you are, but if you do, criticizing your video is fair use. Commentating on your video is fair use. Commentators do it all the time, and that's what I'm going to do. So, you know, disclaimer, in case you're going to come on here and be like, oh, you can't do that. Guess what? Fair use law, buddy. Hate to tell you that. I learned that one the hard way in my earlier years. So here we go. We're going to click on this video, right? Okay, so here we go. This thing will ever load. Okay.
Okay, so before...
First of all. Okay, so... First of all, okay. So, let's get this into position, guys, first. It's not Sony... Okay, we're kicking this guy. First of all, I don't like this guy anyways. I'm not gonna even explain it. Just remove this guy. Remove this guy. I don't know. Just make sure this guy's removed. Like, freaking... Like, I don't want him on here. I don't like that guy. He freaking, pokey shit. He's just trying... He's an anti-pokey shipping troll.
Spider-Man leaves the MCU forever. There is an update. A pretty significant one.
Yes, an update about statements that Sony had to make because people don't seem to understand that it was Disney that pulled the Spider-Man character from the MCU.
We're still going to get 2 more appearances of Tom Holland's Spider-Man that involve the director John Watts. So
yes, we are. But I'm sure you're going to try to spin it and say, oh, that's not true, right? But we'll see where you go with this one.
He's not out just yet, so let's get into this.
Can I full screen this? We're going to full screen this.
Now, while you might be excited at first, let's take a step back and talk about what is happening.
Marvel... That might be too much for you guys. There we go. This is better. Okay.
First, let's take a step back and talk about what is happening. Marvel, Disney, Sony could not reach a deal for Spider-Man, so
Correction. Disney could not reach a deal because they wanted astronomical demands, and there was no way Sony was going to agree to it. Not to mention, right before they left the table, they did offer them, which I didn't even know this, they offered them a 70-30 split, which, quite frankly, I think that's a high ball for Sony to have done. But they did offer them that. But only for the Spider-Man films, not for all the other films that they're doing outside of the Spider-Man live action. Only for Spider-Man live action they agreed to this. Disney wants it for everything. So yeah.
Everything started to fall apart. Spidey still has a contract he has to fulfill, and that is set to be 2 films by deadline. Now, as they keep talking about it, and as
why do you keep referencing deadline? There were multiple sources out there. You don't have to just reference deadline, but okay.
we've just found out, these 2 films are still happening with a slight difference. Kevin Feige and his team, the guy running Marvel Studios, has no say or involvement with what the...
Yes, that was kind of obvious, comic book cast, that Kevin Feige would not be involved in a non-MCU film. That's not being done by, Disney's involvement or the contract that they have. I don't... Jeez.
Films are gonna do. Now, this is a problem. If you're following along, this is a huge problem. Kevin Feige oversees everything. He touches every part of the MCU cinematic universe that's on films. If he's not involved, then they don't want any part of this. Kevin Feige was allegedly given the...
It's pretty obvious, but, I'm sure pretty much most of you that are watching this right now already knows this.
Because they couldn't reach this agreement, and Sony's going to produce these films without him, thinking that they can do the MCU films without his guidance, which to me would largely mean that Sony is being very arrogant again.
Here we go, the arrogant card. See, let's get right back to that, guys. Where he says that Sony's being very arrogant. Where are they being arrogant? They offered them a 37-70 split. Where are they being arrogant? They offered them a fair... I think they lowballed themselves with a 70-30 split. I think it should have been 20 or 15. 15 to 20% at the most. Unless they gave them some of the merchandising. If Disney gave some of the merchandising rights back to Sony, then I could see it. But otherwise, no. I wouldn't do that because they get Disney gets 100% of the merchandising rights for these Spider-Man MCU movies. So I don't exactly see where they're being arrogant. And comic book cast, where exactly were they being arrogant when they were making that money on their own with the Venom movie and Into the Spider-Verse, which, by the way, Into the Spider-Verse was 100% a Sony animated film. No Kevin Feige involvement. Where were they being arrogant when they made the first movies with Maguire in it that you allegedly like? Okay.
Almost like how they were with TASM 1 and TASM 2, where Marvel Studios and Disney came to them multiple times offering deals, but they wouldn't take any of them.
Again, out of context, and not nearly as big as Spider-Man, and bringing this up doesn't make your point valid. Companies disagree on things all the time. It does not make your point valid, and again, see, the moment he said that Sony was being arrogant, he's already creating the narrative to his fan base that Sony pictures are the villains and Disney are the heroes. See what he's doing? How he's saying that, Sony are arrogant. He's saying all these bad things and negative things about Sony's past, but yet he's not bringing up any of the facts about where Disney are going wrong with this. He's not bringing that up. He won't bring that up because he wants Marvel, as his view, the official Marvel, to have everything, which I don't, because guess what? That's a monopoly, and that's why I didn't like the Fox deal. And so once again, he's portraying this narrative, and so he's sparking interest to his fan base, which is why it's making the situation worse. You see what he's doing with that narrative right there? Alright. Anyways. So let's go. Let's go back to this.
Because that's the Sony way, and that's Tom Rothman. Now, Tom Rothman,
Oh, now he's gonna bring up Tom Rothman, right? Oh, I wonder what he's going to say about Tom Rothman, right? Because it's the Sony way, apparently.
You might find that name familiar. He's the guy that was running Fox during those X-Men 3 Origins days where everything started to fall apart. Yes, he...
See, right there, Comic Book Cast just created the narrative. Right there. He's like, oh, well, Tom Rothman, he worked for Fox. He worked for the evil 20th Century Fox that held the X-Men and Fantastic Four hostage. That's exactly what he did. Right there, by doing that. He's saying that, oh, Tom Rothman, he is the bad guy. Bob Iger, he is the good guy. That is exactly what he just did. Right there. He just created that narrative. Right there. And this is what pisses me off about him. He did that on purpose without talking to the fact of what Bob Iger did. Not trying to make an actual agreement that makes sense for both companies. It's all Sony's fault. It's all Sony's fault.
He's the guy behind Sony's decisions, so you can see how things are going forward. And to me, it's like, yeah, okay, we still get 2 more Spidey films, but if Kevin Feige isn't involved, then do we even care? Because they're going to have to be largely devoid of anything that sets them in the MCU. So what are they...
Comic book cast. Really? Really? You do realize that all Sony has to do is create a new costume of Spider-Man, which they can do, because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man costume was different from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume, and obviously Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume was different from Tom Holland's Spider-Man costume. As a matter of fact, Tom Holland's changed Spider-Man suits for the sequel from his first one in Homecoming. So it's not that hard for Sony to create a different Spider-Man design suit for Tom Holland to wear in whatever the new Spider-Man movie will be for Sony. Okay, so, you know, again, and you said this in your stream too. You said, well, Tom Holland will be Spider-Man, but he'll be naked because he won't be able to wear the MCU costume. They don't have to have him wear the MCU costume. All they have to do is create a new one. It's not that hard. You can just redesign a new one. Hell, they can even have him wear Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man costume if they really wanted to. You know, like, because they own that costume. So, I mean, like, you know, what you're saying makes no logical sense. Like, you made this video just to be an anti-Sony supporter. Okay, you know, that's what this video was. This is a video just to take unnecessary jabs at Sony and everyone around there because they didn't make a deal that benefits Disney to continuing to be able to use the MCU Spider-Man, even though it's Disney's fault. Why they're not going to have him any further. I mean, they got three crossover films with Spider-Man in it that Sony didn't make a dime on, by the way. The 2 Avengers films, the Captain America Civil War films, Sony didn't make a dime on those films, and Spider-Man appeared in them. Okay? They didn't make a dime. They didn't make a penny. And you are bitching about the fact that they couldn't come to an agreement that was illogical for Sony to agree to? Like seriously, dude. Like, that's what I said. 20% would be a great deal. I say 20%. I say 20% would be a great deal, and a reasonable deal for Disney. But just for the Spider-Man movies, not for all these other movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they want them for all these other movies too. You know, the Venom movies, the Morbius, Gwen Stacy, whatever other future spin-off movie that Sony wants to produce on their own. They're basically, they want control of that too, which I don't think they should get control of that. By that logic, maybe Sony should have gotten a percentage of the profits for the Avengers movies then. that Spider-Man appeared in, or, the Captain America Civil War movie that Spider-Man appeared in, because, they made money off of that, or, Disney made 100% of the monies for those ones. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, or give them some of the merchandising, money then, too. That's what I said. Give them some of the merchandising money, because obviously Disney has 100% of that. So, it just doesn't make sense.
What are they going to do, and what is this? And that's really the unfortunate story here, is that we don't know, and doesn't look like Sony's going to budge at all, so things are just kind of...
They're not going to budge because it makes no business sense. Unless Disney wants to come down on their offer. Like I said, Sony offered them 70. Sony would get 70, Disney would get 30, which I think is a high ball still for Sony's end, since they have the license, and all. But nonetheless, they were willing to go that far to reach an agreement, and still nothing. I think 20% is what Sony should have offered them. But, once again, the rest of it is just doing his little farewell, buys or whatever. So I'm just going to, kind of go to the next one here. Let's go here. No, like I said, if Comic Book Cast is actually watching this, or if, he sees it later on, like I said, I'm commentating on his video, which is fair use. So, like I said, if he actually comes on here during the stream, or later on after this video is done, he can't do shit, because it's, the law's on my side. So, yeah. That's what I gotta say to that. Alright, so here we go again.
So after that...
Alright, so here's the next one he did. Which again, Comic Book Cast is portraying Sony as the villains. And, yeah, he's hiding the truth. Despite he... Exactly. It's just, Yeah, he is hiding the truth. He won't... Again, that's the thing with Comic Book Cast. Comic Book Cast makes 2-minute to 3-minute videos and regurgitates only his own narrative. Especially, with Venom. He hated on Venom. And he still occasionally makes jabs at Venom. He still occasionally will make jabs at Venom because it was successful. But, that's the thing, what he does. It's whatever. But, I just sick of,
So after that announcement hit, there was a lot of confusion in regards to Spider-Man's future. Of course, within and without the MCU. And
there really wasn't any confusion. It's just that you and many other MCU fanboys read only half the article and only saw the fact that Marvel's losing Spider-Man in the MCU, and you all had to go apeshit and just try to make Sony out as the villains, when in reality Disney are more of the villains in this one. But whatever.
We're all just let's just wait for the official word from someone. This is getting exaggerated. Okay.
An official word. To be completely honest with you, Sony didn't have to put out an official word. Hell, Disney didn't even have to put out an official word, which I doubt they ever will. Because they already know that people are going to back them, because it's the Marvel universe. It's the MCU universe. Everybody's all for them and whatnot. It's just... So here we go again.
At least some people were. We're just we'll all wait for Sony. This'll all blow over. Now here
Not
comes
really.
Sony with the official statement. On Twitter...
So, what is wrong about them posting an official statement on Twitter? What is wrong about them putting an official statement on Twitter? Are you serious right now? They can put an official statement on wherever they want. Okay? I don't see anyone backing an eye when Disney posted a statement on a third-party Twitter account that they own free fall for the Ariel controversy. So, what exactly is your beef with Sony putting out an official statement on Twitter?
So as always, if you guys like these videos, like, subscribe, and hit the notification. Sony Pictures,
I'll pass Comic Book Cast, but you keep telling your audience that.
Credit is due, I guess, with any credit, even though this is the worst way to release a public statement on Twitter. You know, why not?
Again, I don't see what's wrong with them posting something on Twitter. What's wrong with them posting shit on Twitter? Like, it's their official social media network. Like, why? Why is that an issue for you? Are you that salty that they didn't post it on their damn website over them posting it on Twitter? Like this is what we're talking about here, right, guys? This is what we're talking about when it comes to this.
Release it on your website in an article running it down, like when it was announced that Spider-Man would be joining the MCU. But let's get into what...
So, you're comparing to when Spider-Man joined the MCU, because they posted that on their website, compared to now that he's leaving the MCU, that they have to post it on Twitter. Again, I don't see what the issue is. It's their official social media site. What does it matter that they posted either on social media or they posted on their website? I don't see what the issue is.
What the public statement says. And it says, and I quote, from Sony Pictures, "Much of today's news about Spider-Man has mischaracterized recent..."
And Sony is right. They're right about this. Like, it's true. Like, the narrative is completely wrong. People assume that this is Disney, or people assume that Sony pulled Spider-Man away from the MCU, when in reality it was Disney with their illogical deal proposal.
Discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We are disappointed, but respect Disney's decision not to have him continue as a lead producer of our next live-action Spider-Man film.
It's true. They want Kevin Feige to be involved, but unfortunately, he can't be involved if Sony and Spider-Man aren't working together, because obviously Kevin Feige works for Disney. He works for Marvel Studios, which is owned by Disney. So the only way Kevin Feige can work on a Marvel property that is occupied by another studio that isn't Marvel Studios, which is owned by Disney, the only way that can happen is if Sony and Disney come together. If they don't, then that's the end of the relationship. It's not like they fired Kevin Feige. They didn't. The only way he can work on it is if Disney and Sony are working together. And they're not, so Kevin Feige has to go back to just working on Marvel Disney at that point. That's the only way it will work. I don't see where this is, where this is wrong or whatever. Again, it's on Disney. It's Disney's fault. But of course, you're still trying to, spin your narrative, of course.
We hope this might change in the future, but understand that there are many new responsibilities that Disney has given him, including all of the newly added Marvel properties. Do not allow him to work on an IP they do not own. Kevin is terrific, and we are grateful for his help and guidance, and appreciate...
Exactly. Like I said, they like Kevin Feige. They want to work with him, but obviously if Disney's not going to play ball, then they can't work with Kevin Feige because he works for Disney Marvel Studios. I don't see where the issue is. Again, you're just reading the stuff up, and again, you're trying to spin it, as usual.
Appreciate the path he has helped put us on, which we will continue. So,
there's no so about it. They made a good statement. There was nothing wrong with the statement. The only thing that was wrong about the statement is that, unfortunately, Spider-Man's not going to be in the MCU. And to be completely honest, okay, to all you guys that are upset that Spider-Man is not in the MCU anymore, you should be thankful that he was in it to begin with. Because quite frankly, this shit normally never ever happens, okay? There's never a time where a character is being shared by two different studios, okay? You should be thankful that you got what you got, okay? Okay, X-Men, they never wanted to play ball with Disney, okay? Or 20th Century Fox, they never wanted to play ball with them. They never wanted to do that ball, you know. Sony were willing to do it, okay? They were willing to do it. So thankfully, you got, when did it start? Like 2015? The deal officially started in 2015 with the Captain Marvel Civil War, or Captain America Civil War. Started out there. Good film, obviously. I went to go see Captain America Civil War. I thought the movie was very enjoyable. I didn't watch it for Spider-Man. I watched it for Captain America versus Iron Man. But point being is very good film. You got a couple Avengers films in there. You got your two solo films. You got a $1 billion film out of it. I mean, there's really nothing that you can say went wrong here. It was a good deal. You had a good 5-year run with this, okay? You had a good 5-year run. But unfortunately, this is, at the end of the day, this is a business. And business happens. And to all the people that think that, you know, Sony's going to go under by doing this, you're crazy. Venom was successful. Into the Spider-Verse was successful. Venom can do, or Sony can do well without the MCU. Okay? Yes, they did it bad with Amazing Spider-Man. They had that hiccup. But now they're back on track. And they had the guidance of the MCU. And now, you know, you still have them. And hopefully, you know, they can keep it going with their next film. Obviously not referencing the MCU, but, you know, they'll still have Holland's there to do something, and maybe it will cross over to Venom in some capacity.
That was a very statement-y non-statement. Like, we still don't know.
I think the statement was pretty clear, Comic Book Cast. I don't know where you're saying that the statement wasn't clear. Like, the statement was clearly clear. Like, you just don't like it because you're not getting your way, and you're not getting Spider-Man in the MCU anymore. That's really where you're pissed, okay? That's where you're pissed, okay? Which is fine. You know, if you're a huge Spider-Man fan, like a lot of other people are huge Spider-Man fans, I get it. I get you want the character in the MCU. But unfortunately, sometimes shit happens. It happens all the time. Films get canceled, stuff gets reworked, stuff gets changed. It happens. It's business, it's Hollywood, stuff happens. And people need to understand that it happens. There's a bunch of shit that got canceled that I wanted to continue. I think Terminator Genesis should have continued. I thought the film had was much more promising than a lot of people thought. But obviously they decided to cancel it. You know, obviously I didn't like Connor as a villain, but I mean, I did like overall where they were going with it. I liked the concept of Terminator evolving into a T-1000, and I wanted to see where this was going. Maybe they do a prequel from the 70s, you know, which was never really explained in Genesis. We're never going to find out what happened there. But point being is shit happens. Shit happens in films, okay? Okay, it happens all the time, and unfortunately, this shit happens. I mean, Deadpool. We have no idea where Deadpool is now that Bob Iger has calmly gone all haywire about where the status of Deadpool is. Shit happens, guys. It happens, and sometimes you just can't control it, okay? Regardless if it's your favorite character or not.
No details. We don't know, like, almost anything, right? It's a really weird one. I mean...
You're right. We don't know anything. But we kind of know the basics of everything that's going on right now. And you know what? To be completely honest, there might end up being a deal that comes out later on. They might get back to the table, the negotiating table, and they might work out something in another month from now. It could happen. Who knows? anything can happen in media these days. But to just completely do this whole tirade on Sony is just, it's just silly. Because Sony had nothing to do with pulling him out. Okay?
At least it is a statement. Give it that. At least there's something there.
There's something there. Well, I mean, that's kind of obvious. They had to make a statement because, you know, it's one of their biggest properties. Why wouldn't they make a statement? Disney are the ones that really need to make a statement. But they're not going to, because they're going to hide behind the fanboys of Marvel to try to back them. Okay? That's what they're doing. They're not going to make a statement. Okay? They're not being pulled under the gun like Sony is, even though it should be the other way around. But you guys are trying to spin it.
Confirmed it. You know, they talk about it, and the way they make it sound...
They had to confirm it. They had no choice. All the reports were out there, and they were already being perceived as the bad guy. That's why they said what they said at the opening parts of the statement.
Here, it's pretty finite. It's pretty official. Like, they're not saying, oh, things could change in the future. It's like, no, this...
Things can change in the future. From the indications of what I've heard from the reports is that stuff still could possibly be worked out later on. But of course, you're just, you know, too blind to that because you're like, this is the official statement, so this is where we're gonna go. Like I said, a deal could end up being still reached. You never know. Anything can happen. But right now, this is where it's at. And honestly, I see it as a non-issue because I think the films are going to still do good. I mean, like I said, they might have to change their direction a little bit with Spider-Man. But you got Venom. Glenn Stacy might be coming out around soon. You got Morbius. I don't know if... Or not Morbius. Kraven the Hunter. He's coming out soon. I don't know exactly if he's going to do good or not. But point being is you got Andy Serkis now, director for the new Venom 2. A lot of shit's happening for Sony. There's a lot of good things that are happening for Sony right now. So to say that this is not going to work or whatever is very, very underrated, and it's not true.
This is it. It's been decided. And remember, this is a statement.
Again, it was decided, but it wasn't decided by Sony. It was decided by Disney, and that's what you're not understanding.